Hey, good morning to you all. Today I'm going to talk to you about the full product report. Um, it's a very lengthy report coming out of LabWare for the time being, and so I'm going to show you how to navigate through that and understand it. First of all, running the report. Um, the report is called Product Full, and it can be found by clicking on the reports icon here. Um, and going down to um, the and finding product full and running here. If you've run it before, it will be on your quick access drop down. If you click on the little arrow, there it is, product full, and we can launch it. Now, to find the product that you're looking for, they're organized under master item code. Master item code is almost always going to be the first of code number. So question came up on a big product, liquid IA. So if we start typing the numbers in 360, you can see that it comes up. Click on that, and now we need to select what item from that product we'd like to run the report for. So if you click on the arrow down, it gives you the list of the item codes. Now these are the SAP item codes for the product. So 9 levels, of course, are the vials, and 6 levels, for the most part, are for the pools. So let's look at IA level 3. Double click, or you can click assign down here. You can assign all, or you can click on assign, and then you say OK. It populates over here in this window, OK, and it will run the report. Takes a little bit of time for this. So this is the full product report coming out of LabWare. And like the name implies, it is full. It has just about every element that LabWare uses to manage the product. So it's kind of got some background information that most users aren't going to be interested in, and then some of the more pertinent information like specifications and replicates and things like that that most other individuals will be interested in. When you're in this interface, you can only go page by page by using these arrows at the top, or you can jump to the end, either end, the front or back. One of the most important things is jumping to the end. In this iteration of the full product report, the step notes are listed on the last pages, depending on how many steps there are. In this case, there's 11 steps to finish product testing, and you can see that there are notes for example, for analyte verification, there's a note for estriol-free, about doing a dilution, and so forth. So that's very important to know. We can jump back to the front, and I can show you some of the pertinent information here. So we've got our SAP item code number. This version number, though it's very bold and apparent here, this is the version number in LabWare. Doesn't pertain much to the end user. This is more for LabWare users. And so basically this can be disregarded. This is the SAP name as it appears in SAP. And then, so active just means that it's currently in its active state. So this is the current active version of the product. Changed by is the user that changed it. It's not removed, so that is false. Product abbreviation, this product abbreviation will appear on the labels that are printed for this product. Product number, this is one of the things that differs from SQLims and LabWare. We did not create an individual product number for each item code. So for example, the master item code here and the product number are the same, and they always will be the same. So in old SQLims, this would have said, I think, 363 for level 3. Dropping down, we have the CR that was revised under, then the old SQL document name, which was 363 FPS for full product specifications, or I'm sorry, finished product specifications. The report name and the revision and effective date. This is, again, background information for LabWare. It's in the Irvine group of products. Again, we talked about change done in master item code. C of A name, this is the name, this is the FOC name, or the name that will appear on the customer-facing documents. And then we have, again, background information for LabWare, grade, sampling point, and the description, which matches the SAP name. I'm going to jump to and then the best way to kind of review this is to print this to PDF and print this so you can kind of scroll through it a little easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to a PDF of this version. So we have a PDF version of this, and I'm going to just blow this up so we can just scroll without jumping page to page. So we talked about the first page. The highlighted sections are the stages. Stages control the sampling. So these are important because for each stage, the sampling, we have to have individual stages when this number of samples changes. And so one of the other things is in LabWare, we have analyses. I kind of call them phantom analyses, and we also have phantom samples that take care of the calculations for us. So in this case, when we're looking at homogeneity, homogeneity is run on sodium. So we spell it out here. It's not like C to AR for what's going to be run. Num reps, this one can also be removed for the most part. This is background information. This is not the number of replicates that are being run. That's found elsewhere. Specification is the default, and partial approval is false. So this is, again, some background information for how the product is managed in LabWare. And same with volume, and test location hasn't even been populated here. So in this case, the test name in LabWare is sodium underscore DXE. And the displayed name is sodium unicell DXE 600. So this is the full name of the test. And then the component is sodium, and the display name for this is homogeneity. So the display names you see in the brackets. Now, class is another background information. This means it's going to be displayed in the lot. So it's going to be any result is going to be displayed in the lot. Replicates. This is the number of replicates each sample is going to carry. So each sample in homogeneity is going to carry 2 replicates. Rounding, if we're going to round a result, typically we do not round a result, a raw result coming off an instrument. Is it a required test? Yes, it is. If there is a specification, it would appear here, and the units. So we have the units as they're called out in LabWare with underscore, and then the display name for the unit, millimoles per liter. Nominal would be the target value. Now, nominal is a special number. It's a high accuracy number, so it's almost always going to be displayed with 2 decimal points. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that is what the specification is requiring for that level of accuracy. So if it says 10.00, that level of accuracy for the specification may only be 10 to the ones place. And then, again, some other things to think about. C of A, shown C of A is false for this one because it's not a calculated value or a summary value. Dilution factors, this is standard as 1. the time where this comes into play is if there is a dilution that's associated with, typically with spike solutions, where we might be diluting a spike solution by 1,000 or some number like that. And this number is multiplied by the result. So that kind of carries you through that. So, and then here, the next step down, so homogeneity, if we jump to the bottom to find out how many samples we're going to run. So step 1, homogeneity, you see that we're running 10 samples. So 10 samples times 2 reps, so 20, ultimately 20 results for that test. And then we have what we're calling sort of our phantom test here, which is our summary result. We go between summaries and averages in some cases based on the type of test that we're talking about and how it's being managed in SAP. But basically, summary average is a calculated value. So here we're running a calculation, so you can see it's sodium DXE. These are underscores here, even though it's underlined. So sodium underscore DXE underscore average, AV, and the display name is this. So this is where the specification comes into play, if there's a specification. And so again, there's only going to be one replicate for an average. We are going to round it. So what this means is we're going to round up at decimal 5, at 0.5, and we're going to round to the 0 place value, so to the ones position, so no decimal points. So that's basically how you read this. Moving on to, since we're talking about finished product, what's most important is analyte verification. So I'm going to move down here to analyte verification. Oop, I may have passed it right up. There we go. Analyte verification. This is a big product, so it has a lot of tests. As you can see, there's 34 pages. We're going to work on trying to slim this down, so we'll have a couple reports depending on what you're trying to look for in this. But so analyte verification, once again, typically analyte verification is run in one replicate, and it's 4 samples, 4 vials run in single replicate each, and then they're averaged together. So this still applies, that we're using an additional test to calculate the average and not calculate the average within the test. This helps R&D manage their products when they're doing electronic notebook. So they did not want the averages coming along with the test results. So this is why it's built this way. But anyway, so there again, we have our individual test and we have our one replicate. And this goes on and on and on for as many tests as there are on IA. And like I said, sample plan down here, we see that analyte verification is here. Again, there are 4 samples, and then we have some step notes as saying some of these things are send outs. So if we scroll down through analyte verification and we get towards the end here, then we get to analyte verification summary. So in the summary stages is typically where you're going to find the calculated values. So in this case, we go through every analyte that was tested above, 4 samples, 1 rep each, and we calculate an average on those. So this is where you're going to see the specifications. You don't see the specifications on individual replicates because that's not how the product is specified. Finished product testing, the specification is on the average. So once we calculate the average, it tells us that we're only going to calculate it once. We're going to round this to the 10th place, so 1 decimal place. Notice there's not a 0.0 here after the 3. Try to maintain that. In some cases, the load tool loses that decimal point. It's coming out of Excel. So basically, the way you read this is the specification is 3.0 to 7.5 for this test. And that goes on and on and on again, units and so forth. So that's basically how you read the full product report. So it is a little lengthy. It's got a lot of information that some people aren't going to be interested in, but when you're trying to manage the entire product, this helps us maintain it in LabWare. So like I said, and then this manages the number of samples that you're going to be testing at each level. Now, if you're an ME or an R&D person and you're going to want to redline this, you can export this into a PDF and then edit the PDF or manually redline it with a red pen, I suppose. Or you can ask someone from the LabWare group or someone from QA to give you a Excel export. So this Excel export is basically the full product report in a tabular format in Excel. Now it's broken into 4 major pieces. One piece is the product piece. So this is where we capture the revision of the documents and the CRs. And you can see these kind of explode out, which there's a lot of extraneous information that's some is being used, some isn't in LabWare, so we've kind of collapsed this down for you. This is the pertinent information I think everybody's interested in. This is one of the different features here. We need to make sure that we put in the sample type, so serum, plasma, CSF, those go here. Once it's established for a product, it shouldn't change. Then we have our stages, and like I said, stages denote sampling. Each stage, each line in stage represents the test. So in step 6, and this is in process level 1, step 6 is these tests, and so we have a line for each test. So like I said, acetaminophen and the average are different tests. So they're here. So this kind of lays out the steps that are involved. And then we get to the specifications. So this is kind of where the rubber hits the road. And the thing about being able to look at this as an export, you can sort and filter and things like that. And so say, for example, we were looking at some tests in finished product. So we're going to look at amikacin, and so maybe that, well, that's probably not a good choice. Maybe it's caffeine. Let's just try that. So we want to look at the caffeine tests across all the products. So what this will allow you to do is you can either sort on the component or the analysis. Probably best, well, we can double sort. We can sort on the component, and we can type in caffeine. Okay, and we can select that. So that gives us all the caffeine components. So you can see the replicate test and the average test. And these are the results for caffeine. And so we don't test that in process. It's only coming up on the finished So that's kind of a quick way to look at this. And if you were going to redline this, I think the right way to redline this would be to find the product that you're going to redline. Oh, and one other thing that that's included in this is the line number. This keeps everything in order, so if you start sorting and doing things, you can always go back and sort on the order number and get it back into the right order. But if I wanted to redline this for caffeine, let's go back and find caffeine again. There she is. What should be done is we can just right-click here, insert a row. We can copy caffeine and paste it here. Okay. And you can go through and line this one out, or what I would do, is do a strike through on that one and make it red. And then this is our new one, so we can make that one red as well, but not strike it out. Or we could leave it, maybe a different color would be more appropriate. Make it blue, and then say we're going to change our specs to 12.2 to 20.5. We can make those red to make sure that people know that that's what happened, because that's the main change. So this one's being removed, this one's being added, and this is what changed. So like I said, you can ask one of the people from the LabWare group, or ask someone from QA to export this. So handle it the same way you would handle doing recipes in SAP. And then this can be passed over to the folks that make the changes, and we can update the changes. So that's kind of the full product report. If you have any further questions, please reach out to someone in the LabWare group or someone in QA, and they can help explain this further. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Have a good day.